Hey,
Hello.
sounds like you were arriving via skateboard or something.
That was the vibration of my phone. It was ringing through there for some reason.
Ah, well, welcome. My name's Erin Margolis, and we're here with Game Dev House, and we're about to do an amazing interview and look at some new game development content with Clinton Bowman.
Hi, Aaron. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. Glad for having me.
Pleasure as always.
Cool. Um, so I guess I could start off. I've been in game development design for many years of my life. I started off as a hobbyist when I was about 14 years old, doing different types of editors, Doom basically with Duke Nukem 3D, Quake, and I went through all the different development steps in the mod community. So I really started out with the mod community, and I got some big breaks with some of the larger publishers like Ubisoft, THQ, Disney, EA. I enjoyed working with the larger AAA companies for a while, but then I kind of got tired of rinse and repeat, the same old big explosions and all the type. I just think it was more of a Michael Bayism sort of thing, like kind of just throw in more and more bigger graphics and stuff like that, where it seems like larger AAAs don't really like to take the risk that a small indie developer can experiment with. That being said, the game I'm currently working on is more of an arcade sim space shooter. Although the market's flooded right now with such huge games, AAA games like Star Citizen and such. But we're not trying to go that direction. Although if I did have an unlimited budget, I would sure love to have multiplayer and all those things like a big MMO. But being a very small independent company, we have to pick our battles and choose them very wisely. We wanted to have combat at the beginning as well, but instead we cut the combat, and our main goal and focus has been on mining. We really want to make a mining game that is all focused solely on that and make it as much fun as possible. Um, Originally, Deep Space Mining Robots was our first game that I was really my inspiration from. It's about 2 years ago, actually no, coming up more than 3 years ago. I was doing a mobile development using Unity to make a side-scrolling game using a magnet and a robotic eye. We went with the name Deep Space Mining Robots because it's basically a space game all about mining. Derived from that game, I went back to school to finish my postgraduate studies for game level design at Sheridan. And part of our capstone, which is basically a team that I led, we're a small team of myself as design and two other programmers. We're able to rapidly prototype a game called ARM. ARM was the working title, Asteroid Resource Mining. And that's the game that I'm currently working on up to this date. But now the name is on Steam. It's called Planetary Prospectors hyphen ARM. So we have a bit of different names. Luckily, we just got Greenlight on Steam. Although we took a little bit longer for us to get our Greenlight than we really initially wanted to. I think a big reason for that is that we kind of showed a lot of early alpha screenshots, and we had a lot of feedback from the community saying, oh, it looks really bad, the graphics are horrible, and all this stuff like that. So we addressed those issues as best as possible, and even now our graphics are slightly improved than what we currently have. But now we actually have an updated version with the graphics in. It's a sneak peek. Nobody's seen it. I could show you that in just shortly. One of the reasons why it hasn't been quite released yet, well, when we recorded it, for some reason it only recorded in 480p, and when we put it on, the resolution's not that great, but I don't think it should matter too much with this, but at least we can kind of have a peek, though.
Sounds
Um,
awesome.
I, yeah, I could maybe show that right now. I could just cut right to it, I guess. I was going to save it for after, but since talking about it, I might as well see if I can share here. Just give me one moment, please. I'll try to talk through it as well. Okay. This is Planetary Prospectors, still pre-alpha, and we're going to early access on Steam very shortly. We're just sorting out I actually have another business call just after. I'm going to talk with our community manager, and one of a potential programmer is going to help finish this game for us, as we do need we still need more help in order to get this game out in its highest quality. Okay, I'll show you now. It's Overshield. It's a big space station there. One of the 3 spaceships we currently have. They're actually all mining vessels, so they're really not all about combat. It's an ice asteroid. We're using voxel-based technology currently, but that's a snow asteroid. It snowballs and eventually melts into ice if you use the ice laser. There's another couple of the mining ships docking. The fuel and cargo bar is part of the main resource management of this game, while the main goal is to build up a mining fleet and eventually venture on and collect, become the most wealthiest miner in the galaxy, where you can upgrade, purchase other spaceships. Eventually you can buy mining stations, mining fleets.
That's amazing.
Oh, thanks. That is some emeralds and sapphire ruby gems that you can mine. The other was marble. It's a tougher type of rock. Some rocks are tougher than others. Some metal you can't penetrate until later on when you upgrade to certain tools. Like all that metal right now is currently indestructible, but the rocks and ice you can destroy.
So what is the goal? What are you trying to accomplish?
The main goal is to become the richest miner in the galaxy. Currently, there's no actual threat in terms of, well, we were going to add pirates later on, but there's currently no AI except for turrets, like mining turrets we have. There are also electrical storms, meteor showers. You can also, if you're too aggressive, you can die if you're mining inside the asteroid, because you can get smashed by the gravity rocks and they can hit the player as well. There's also the main other thing as well. You can run out of fuel and be stranded out in the galaxy, where you can call a tow truck practically and get more fuel, but there's a big penalty for that. That's sandstone and ice mixture inside. There's sometimes minerals. The universe is procedurally generated, so it is an infinite universe. I remember I left my computer on for a week and I just set it on full throttle just to see what happened, and eventually I crashed into an asteroid, so there is random chance of crashing into things.
Cool. So you have 2 programmers working with you on this?
Yes, well, currently we start off as 2 programmers. We had a few contractors help us out for art assets, but the team right now stands as the 3 of us, and we're still looking for help. I know our one programmer is just on way on vacation, so hopefully having him back with us soon. Yeah, so there's a lot of work, but we want to finish up what we can, polish up. We're actually going to reduce our scope in terms of what we're going to show. Right now, we're showing an arcade timer mode where there's only a limited amount of time. It kind of prevents the players from endlessly traveling throughout the whole universe. So we kind of wanted to live a little bit of a constraint so we can test it easier. We'd like to take analytics as well and get a lot of feedback from our users, find out where they're having fun, where they're crashing, where they're dying, how long they're playing and such. Yeah, I could switch it back.
That's really cool. What engine are you using?
We are using the Unity 3D. We're currently using 3.4, but we're working on upgrading to 4.6. The great thing about 4.6 is they have a lot of better UI in their games, so we could make our UI look a lot better. That was one of the feedback we had was regarding that. But with 4.3, it was very difficult to have proper UI. It was really a time-consuming thing, but now it's more easier to do.
That's good to know. Has the market helped you out at all? Have you been able to leverage any code or assets from the Unity market?
At first we were using the Unity Asset Store. We were able to have some assets to help us out, get a general feel for that. So even as us being a small developer, that's definitely something we could use. I think it's great for developers. Instead of having to reinvent the wheel, buy assets all the time. You can use what's already there, and sometimes it's the best thing depending on what exactly you're building.
So how close to complete would you call yourself right now?
Um, that's kind of tricky because this game I don't see it ever being completing. It's going to be an ongoing journey. Our main focus is we're just trying to add quality and make it as most focused single player experience as possible. Later on, we'd like to add the multiplayer, but we're just want to get it on Steam, have early access, get it in players' hands, and start getting their feedback as soon as possible. And that's why this game is going to be built by the community as well. If players really want space pirates, then that'll be the next thing we'll add space pirates in. Aside from space pirates, is I've actually had the opportunity to hook it up on the Oculus Rift, and like I've heard so much with the Rift before I played around with it, but as soon as I hooked up Planetary Prospectors to it, it was simply amazing. It was just how I kind of envisioned it in the first place. Mind you, we didn't have the camera fully working. I was able to fly around, have it locked. We had a button where you could toggle into an orbit mode. So, for instance, if I would look up, I could orbit around the ship. Or if I look down, I look around. But normally, if I'm flying around the spaceship, I look left or I look right. I can look to the side, or if I spin around, I could look behind me to see, oh, there's another asteroid. Or even when I enter into the radar mode in deep scanning mode, I can scan far distant asteroids and find out, oh, is there any actual gold or diamonds or anything in that asteroid? Maybe it's just H2O, although H2O can be a good fuel source as well in this game. So it all depends, risk and reward and type of balance out what exactly do I need, and is my fuel worth traveling to that far distant galaxy, and are my scanning tools, are they up to level enough, are they leveled up that I can actually find out, oh, okay, there's something actually over here, or I can actually discover a wreckage of a ship that has been abandoned, and I can go scavenge that ship and take whatever resources left on that.
Do you think that your game might interest the educational community, or um, perhaps as a museum exhibit of some sort?
Actually, a friend and colleague of mine has actually worked with NASA as a contact. So we've been getting in touch with, not directly through NASA, but through a company that's worked with them before. So that would be great. We really want to come forward with them a bit more. I know our game is a bit more on the arcade type side rather than simulation. The main reason for that, though, is that we had it fully out sim as much as we could as possible. But then when we did our initial playtest, players found it way too realistic in terms of the controls, like the inertia value with 0 G gravity. You basically start spinning out of control, and Newtonian physics can be quite jarring. I could imagine it'd be 10 times even worse with the VR headset on, having that much crazy movement. So we actually put dampers on it and made it for more arcadey action and more about collecting points, and aside from actually being scientific. That's not saying we don't want to have a bit of educational bits we're going to load into it. We're thinking that between loading screens, although we really don't have any loading screens, but if we were to have some type of something that would be in between levels, we could say, oh, there's space facts of certain things, and just even for the younger audience and even older alike, at least there is also some educational things as well. It's not just about having fun.
Ah, you have to get smart while you're having fun. That's the new cool, I guess.
It helps, even if we teach a little bit about space, maybe even geology, different types of rocks, and how different tools will work on it. Yeah, I think that'd be a good thing. Really, just trying to get more away from violence and majorly like just blowing things up. Because myself, I play so many like FPS games, and I've killed probably like millions and millions of online, and it's so repetitive after a while. So I think I'd like to play a game that's interesting to me, where I can explore space. I've always been a big space and sci-fi fan, so I kind of like want to play in this universe where other community members can also participate, add their own content as well. Which also leads me to another thing. We would like to also have a crafting system where you can gather certain jewels, and if you have certain jewels and minerals, you can build other tools, ships, space stations as well. We're still looking into that. Mind you, it was on our Kickstarter that we were about to launch, but then that has been delayed for now to put our main priority and focus on early access on Steam.
That's great. I'm sure your players will appreciate that much, much more, and the feedback that you received should be invaluable too.
Mm.
So I would love to take some of your information that you want to release to your fans or potential developers, and we'll post that on here so people can contact you um, in reference to what you might want to gain some talent or move forward. And
That would be great. I think. Thank you, Aaron. Like even the more help we can get, our community right now has been really small. We haven't had, in terms of a lot of marketing money or anything like that. We've been pretty much just new, fresh out of the gates, and we just keep rechanging a lot of our things from our community. So even the more people who join, who want to, it's free to join. So anybody, everybody's kind of like equal level. If you say something, we'll take it in consideration as well. So that would help out a lot. We have a Facebook page, Twitter, although it hasn't been quite updated as much as I would like it to be. We've been so busy, but we also have our website that still needs a little bit of updating. But our main focus has been on game development. So we're really excited to show our new high-res video that we'll be relaunching shortly. We're just going through, and we have to re-record a lot of the video, so it's taking a little bit more time than anticipated. But yeah, that'd be great, and I really thank you and the community as well for support, either by sharing or even just commenting. It really helps us out, and hopefully soon we'll have early access available and actually get into the fans and players' hands and be able to actually test it out.
absolutely, we can't wait. And that'll be so cool to see what you guys come up with and your brilliance as a game designer and developer. And
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
thinking of the solar farm dish, you know?
Oh, yes. Solar
That
farm dish. Maybe there's some inspiration from the solar farm dish, the big satellite, and I think that's originally was a SETI space dish of some sort that I'm.
it was some asset, and you took it and scaled it way up to become something totally different. So I personally have confidence that you will be one of the greatest inventors of our time. So,
Oh, well, thank you. I like how
yeah,
you use the word inventor because that's the thing. I am a game designer, but I've also come up with other invention of things like that as well. Always thinking, not just games, but it's good for creative people like ourselves to always be thinking just outside the box.
well, this could just be a prototype, and maybe we will be building these asteroids and actually going into space. This could be
Yeah,
just the beginning. So,
I've I've even actually read a bit that there's actually talks of sending certain types of drones to asteroids for mining, and so it's not too far from science fiction.
better patent that idea, Clinton. You'll see
Right.
everyone running around with your robots, you know?
Yeah, well, maybe one day I'll, who knows, maybe I'll have a game studio on Mars someday. That'd be pretty sweet.
If anyone can do it, I know you can.
Hopefully.